Hi, James from engVid. This lesson, what I want to do is help you, I want to help you improve two things at once, your pronunciation and your listening. Really, I will be focusing on the listening part, but if you do this right, your pronunciation will also get better. You ready? Let's go to the board. As you can see, Mr. E has a big ear. Listening is one of those things when people are learning a language, they don't really pay attention to. It's quite funny because I hear many people say right away, I listen to English all the time, I listen to videos at home, I don't need anyone to tell me or help me with listening. And usually these same people will say something like, my pronunciation is not very good, I really don't understand when people speak to me, and so on and so forth. And you try and explain listening is a skill that is natural. Actually, there's a difference between hearing and listening. And we're going to go to the board right now and talk about that so that we can get to what I call active listening. You ready? Let's go. So E, as you can see, has a big ear because he is now listening because he wants to improve on his listening skills and his pronunciation. And he's come to the right place. All right, so the first thing I want to look at here is here. When we use the word here in English, it's for sound. It really is. It's just for sound. Like, did you hear that? All right? You don't say, did you listen to that? You can't listen to that. You can hear that. All right? So that would be music when people are speaking. Because if you can't hear, and here I wrote this, if you don't hear it, it doesn't exist. And that's true. Listening or hearing is physical. Okay? The ear actually has to work, or you have to make it work. There are two things you have to be careful on, that the ear is good, so get a hearing test if necessary, if you need one. But also, we can make it better. If physically everything works, sometimes people don't pay attention, so they miss the sounds. And when you miss a sound, it changes the word and sometimes the meaning. And that's when we look over here to listen. Listening makes us focus and gives us meaning. So when you're listening to someone, you will look at them and you will pay attention, and that's how you get the meaning. You need to be able to physically hear the sound, which is true. But if you don't listen, you won't get the meaning of what they say. Okay, so we need a combination. And luckily for us, when the ear works, we can use our listening or our focus skills to improve how this works so we can get better at learning language and learn faster. If you remember what I said here, if you don't hear, it doesn't exist. That's the physical part. If you cannot hear it, it doesn't exist, right? Which will lead to bad pronunciation, because if you cannot hear a T, you won't say the T. Yeah. For many Spanish people, the D sound is a th. They cannot actually hear us when we say D. So they the, right? So they go, I stand, instead of I stand. When they can hear it, because when I make them say the sound D, they can do it, and D, they can say it. And all of a sudden they're like, I can stand. He wanted. No, I want it. I wanted. Oh, it's a different sound. By focusing and listening, we're able to make them realize there are different sounds being said and improve on their pronunciation. Okay? Now, if we use active listening, which is what I will teach you now, it will help us retrain the ear. Retrain means make the ear go back to the beginning and then start again, and retrain to make it better. Now, I have a little game we're going to play, which is a fun game because you can do it by yourself, and I will give you an example in a second, but you can also do it with a friend. So you can both help each other improve. So I'm going to read something to you, okay? And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to listen. Okay? Now, I want you to look for the words with the letter C. All right? So you're going to close your eyes, like I'm closing my eyes now, and I'm going to read this to you, and I want you to count how many C words are in this sentence. Are you ready? Are your eyes closed? Okay, do it now. The cat quickly came to the couch and caught sight of the kite in the tree and kept quiet. Okay? How many letter C's? I'll read it one more time for you. So focus on the words. How many words with C in it? The cat quickly came to the couch and caught sight of the kite in the tree and kept quiet. Count them up. All right. Now, probably the first time you did it, you were like, what? And it just went by very quickly. But the second time, you probably noticed you were catching, grabbing. This will help with pronunciation, but it also does another little thing I didn't explain to you, but you would find. You started to make breaks in the words, so you could understand much more clearly what I was saying. Cool, huh? When you're actively focused on catching one sound, your brain has to separate things to make it clearer for you. Continually practicing this, you're going to start noticing when English speakers put breaks in the word, so your speech will flow much more naturally, and you'll catch the actual pronunciation that we say. Cool? Yeah, I thought so. Let's try another one for you. Are you ready? Now, I want you to count the number of words with S this time. The number of words with S. Listen carefully. She shopped at many sites in the city that seemed strange. The cell phone that she used and took pictures of the sites was not hers. Ready? I'll do it again, so pay attention. She shopped at many sites in the city that seemed strange. The cell phone that she used and took pictures of the sites was not hers. This time you probably notice you got the letter S's or the words with S a little faster because you were able to go S, 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 S. If you missed out, there's a second thing. Remember I told you about the speed of English and the breaks and proper pronunciation? You're also probably going, what is a site? Good, we work on vocabulary. In listening, when you're able to catch the word, because you probably caught the word sight from me, you learned a new vocabulary word. English people cannot explain these words to you when you say, I heard the word saya, it's nothing. But when you say, I heard this word sight, what is it? I go, oh, that's one of two things. Sight, the ability to see. And sight is an area that we look at things, like a city can be a site, a place, an area. Now, oh, nobody told me that. And they're spelled two different ways. Cool. So in learning to listen, you can pick up new vocabulary that you've probably missed because you weren't able to hear it. Remember? What you don't hear, it doesn't exist. But by focusing on one sound or one letter, we talked about one letter, you're able to pick it up, right? Take it out, and then it makes the other things clearer that you were probably missing. Pretty cool, huh? Now, I'm going to teach you something else in a second. I want to teach you a little bit more advanced because right now, I'm asking you to look for the words, or sorry, the letters that you know, A, B, C, D, or E, what have you, right? We haven't worked on sounds, just the letter name. So C, the letter C you're looking for. But now we're going to work on sounds to improve your listening ability. Are you ready? Gets to be fun now. Okay, so I gave you a little exercise to try, and we practiced it. I'm going to make that exercise a little bit more difficult now because we worked on the name. I call it you could say the capital letter, and I say it's the name of the letter. So an example would be, this is a capital letter, the big size, but this is the sound. I would say this is the name of the letter, and this is the sound. So the sound might be here. Name is B, the letter B, but the sound, right, would be B, B. Now we worked on letter name, right? Like how many words have the letter in it. We didn't care about the sound that it makes. We just cared that the letter exists in the word. That's the first step. Then I'm going to have to work on sounds because you need to be able to tell the difference between sounds. But before we do that, let me give you a little bit of help with working with consonants. Now, I'm just assuming everybody knows a consonant, but in case you don't, A, E, I, O, U are sometimes strong. Oops, sorry. It's an old song. Those are vowels. Okay, so I'm not talking about vowels. To be honest with you, vowels are really hard to do because we mix vowels. We put E and I together to make an A sound or an E sound. So I don't want to start with that, and nor should you. Best to start with the consonants because they're hard sounds. Also, many Latin languages, Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish don't end in hard sounds, the hard consonants. So it's a good idea to bring your mind to it so you can practice. Also, Japanese people have a little difficulty with this. So working with the consonants will almost instantly improve your pronunciation by 5 to 10% just by listening and knowing how to listen. Cool? So for our bonus little lesson, do only the consonants first. I just explained why. Okay? And I'm going to give you a specific consonant to work on because it will help you improve faster and immediately. The most used consonant in the English language is the letter T. I know, strange, huh? Some people will say that when I used to teach it, I would say it's S, D, T, and TH. Not that these are, TH is a consonant, but most people would have difficulty saying these sounds, especially at the end of words. So I would make students use this exercise and practice with this again and again while watching movies. So they got really good at hearing, and they also found they could understand more of what the people were saying. Okay, so it's best to, T is the most used consonant in the English, so it's best to start with that. Now practice first before you even do the listening exercise of putting on, and I wouldn't start with music, go for a movie or a TV program to start with first, okay? First practicing saying T, and you could do it like this, T, 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 is to get the brain to become aware of it. If you have a difficulty with T, T is done by this. Your throat back here, you kind of close it a little bit like swallow, swallow. And then at the tip of your tongue, see, tip tongue, TTs. Your tongue, tip of the tongue goes to the front of the teeth. So t, 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 t. That's how you make the T, all right? So T, t. Got it? Cool. Now we're ready to start. I'm going to give you, by the way, the same 2 sentences I gave you before. Oh, so what's the challenge, man? I just did it. You told me, right? Now remember I told you how many, oh, did I tell you how many words? Or did I leave you hanging? So, before I do it again, how many words did you find with the letter C? Remember the first sentence with the cat? If you said 5, congratulations, you're correct. There were 5 words with the letter C. Cat, quickly, came, couch, and caught. Good on you. How about the second sentence? How many words with the letter S? This was a little bit tougher, so I hope you were paying attention. Remember, I did it twice, and you had to focus on just that S, right? That S sound, S word. So what do we have? She, shocked, sights, seemed, strange, she, I said she again, used, pictures, sight again, but I said sights, was, and hers. Pretty cool, right? That was 11 words with an S in it, if you're paying attention. All right. Now remember, I'm going to repeat the same sentences this time, but we're going to do a different job. This time, instead of concentrating on the name of the letter, I want to concentrate on the sound. So the first thing we have to look at is the letter C can make 2 sounds. It can make a S sound or a K sound. I'm going to concentrate on this, and we're not going to concentrate on the letter C. We're going to concentrate on one thing it can do. I want to hear how many words have the letter K, or sorry, the K sound, right? How many of them? So I'm going to read the same sentence as before. Now, don't rewind the video to go check it out. I'm going to read it to you anyway. But this time, look for a K sound. That could be the letter C. Are you ready? Let's do it. The cat quickly came to the couch and caught sight of the kite in the tree and kept quiet. Okay, how many K sounds did you hear? Let's try again. The cat quickly came to the couch and caught sight of the kite in the tree and kept quiet. Yeah. Now you remember before I said there were 5 words with the letter C, but the K sound, there are actually 7 words with the K sound. Whoa, yeah, extra, because remember, kite, right, and kept or keep have a K sound, and sometimes the C sounds like a K. And that's what I mean by you have to start being able to, the first thing is how many words are there. We work on vocabulary and listening. The second time we're listening to grabbing sounds, taking sounds out of sentences. And in order to do that, we can actually start noticing there are breaks between words. And when you start noticing the breaks, you can start catching the words afterwards and understanding even better, right? Okay, now we've done with the C. I want to work on the letter S. If you remember the sentence I did earlier with S, I told you there were 11 words with S. The words were she, shocked, sights, right? Seemed strange, she, because I said she twice, used, pictures, sights, again, was, and hers. There's 11 words. It's a lot of words. That might have been difficult because I did read it at, a decent speed. Now we're going to redo that sentence again, but this time I don't care about the S. What I want to work on is the sound, because S can have 2 sounds. It can have a Z sound or an S sound. All right? So your job now is to catch how many words have the S sound, not the letter S. Are you ready? Let's do it. She shopped at many sites in the city that seemed strange. The cell phone that she used to take the pictures of the sites was not hers. Ready? One more time. She shopped at many sites in the city that seemed strange. The cell phone that she used to take the pictures of the sites was not hers. Okay, I'm smiling because I can see you go, I got it, I know how many words. Some of you will say 11, right? Careful. Remember I said there's a difference between the name of the letter and the sound of the letter. And the example I gave was the name of the letter B is B, the letter B. But the sound it makes is B. In the case of S, S can be S, as in silent, or Z, as in hers. Now some of you are going, oy vey! He said hers. I mean, yeah, it's a Z sound, and you have to be careful, all right? So, in this case, how many sounds of S? You'll be surprised because it's not all the words you think. She and shopped are a sh sound, not a s sound. Some of you who have trouble saying ch and sh are now noticing, oh, there's a difference. So those don't count. Sites counts and city. But some of you will go, James, city starts with a C. Remember over here, we said C can sometimes sound like S. S. And for proper pronunciation, we need to be able to tell the difference. So we have sites, city, seemed, strange, and the word cell phone. Starts with a C, but it sounds like an S, right? We can't say she because it's a sh again, right? And we can't say used because that is a Z sound. We can't say pictures because that's a Z sound. But we can say sites again. So the number that we used dropped down dramatically. Hope you were paying attention to that and hope you got a lot out of the lesson, because if you use this properly, you will find that you can improve greatly and quickly in your pronunciation, but also your listening skills and understanding when you speak to other people. Now, of course, I got homework for you, and this is very specific homework. So for those of you who like the Matrix, I'm about to make you happy, and it's only 18 seconds long. I need you to, well, you're probably on YouTube. If you're not on engVid, you're on YouTube, you can go to YouTube and you can look under blue pill or red pill, The Matrix. And I only want you to listen to 18 seconds. And the first 18 seconds, Morpheus, I'm going to call him by his movie name, uses many words with the letter W. I want you to count up how many times or how many words he uses with the letter W, like which, when, window. He uses many, many, many of them. Your job is to do homework. Go there. It's 18 seconds. You've watched me for about 15 minutes. 18 seconds to improve is great, right? Great. It's just a short amount of time to improve. Count how many times Morpheus uses a W word when he's talking to Neo. And when you're done, go pop up the website and see who got it right. Was it 10? Was it 15? Was it 5? Challenge yourself and challenge others. Anyway, I've got to wrap this up. That means I have to go. I want to make this quick. Please subscribe to our website. And if you want to get my latest video, you want to be informed right away, be the first person to get it, what you have to do is hit the subscribe button, which is usually, it could be a red box, but it says subscribe. But don't forget, you have to also hit the bell. You have to hit the bell because then that will come to your email or on your cell phone. You'll get instantly let aware when I have a new video, okay? I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Don't forget to go to the website. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and have a great day. See you soon. And I want to know how many W's happened with Neo and Morpheus. Maybe I'll be the first one.